I love keynote speeches. So even though I'm the last of this great Digital Transformation Summit 2020, but I love it, especially when I can interact with my audience. So this will be difficult today because I have no faces except yours, Mustafa. I hope you stay there. So I have to get out of my comfort zone, accept the circumstances, and risk to fail.
I'll be there also.
Welcome, please. Welcome to my hard topic, to develop a failure culture in order to learn and grow in the digital age. And let me click to the next slide. Yes. Yeah. Let me try a way of interacting with you all on YouTube channel and also here on the Zoom link. And I invite you to close your eyes and go back to your childhood time. Imagine you are almost 1 year and excited to take your first steps, your very first steps. So your parents take your hands carefully, and after 2 or 3 steps, they encourage you to let go out of the hand. So can you imagine it? Do I see some heads nodding? Yes, great. But what happens? Oops, you fall on your butt, most of the cases. So good that those days we have well-padded butts with our diapers. But first trial, not successfully. Let's make another one. You put yourself up by your parents' help, and oops, you fall again once more. And your parents cheer you on and encourage you, keep trying, keep trying. Isn't that a nice imagination? Even if you can remember your own childhood, maybe from your own experience as parents, you can recall that feeling. Do I see some nodding heads? Yes, lovely. So this is actually the real nature, how we learn. This is, we never learn so fast in our eternal life, and as it is, so actually in the first years of our early childhood. So and now imagine the following scenario. At this time, you replace your cheering parents with your current superior in the organization you're working in. And after the second or third fall on your butt, the superior looks at you, disappointed, judgmentally, regretful, and removes the dessert from your daily meal portion of the whole year, similar to bonus maybe, and advises you to give up and let someone else do it better. How would you feel? Do you think you would have learned to walk with this kind of support? Maybe, but maybe you would prefer to search for a better, more supportive place. So let's recap this childhood journey. Your superior creates the culture of daring to fail or hiding of failure. So we learn by trial and error. Yes, there is no other way to develop and transform as human beings. Whether you lead a global corporation, develop software, advise clients, practice medicine, build homes, or whatever fits to you, you are a brain worker. So just as standardization was the engine of growth in the Industrial Revolution, today growth is driven by ideas and inventions. People must bring their brain to work and collaborate with each other to solve problems and accomplish what is permanently changing. So if you are not able to put your people in the right place, you will not be able to create value over the long term. During the industrial age, we have built an environment to become more efficient in our processes. All our structures, procedures, and behaviors have worked in this way for decades. I mentioned this yesterday already. And actually, I guess I tell nothing new to you when you think of the VUCA world. It needs innovation, ideas, agility in nearly every industry. So I've seen only few managers thinking about the implication of this new reality and what this means when it comes to creating a work environment that would support your people. And those who are thinking of it have no idea where to start and how to create a nurturing environment. So the recipe for your success is not to hire smart and motivated people. Even the smart ones cannot always contribute what they know at the critical moments on the job when it is needed. Sometimes this is because they fail to recognize the right moment, but more often it's because they hesitate to stand out, be wrong, or offend their superior. Let me change the slide. Yes. For brain work to flourish, the workplace must be one where people feel safe to share their mind. This means sharing concerns, questions, mistakes, and also half-formed ideas. No 21st century organization can afford to have a culture of fear. The fearless organization is not only a better place for employees, but also a place where innovation, growth, and performance can take place. Let me share another story. I have to switch slides again. So, yes. Matthew Seed gave a true example in his book, The Black Box. Elaine, a mother of 2 kids with her husband, was brought to the hospital in the morning for a routine operation. And the family planned to pick her up. Planned to pick her up after school. So everything normal. Routine operation, and the main doctor had more than 30 years of experience. The anesthetist had 16 years of experience, and the hospital had excellent reputation and facilities. At 8:35 in the morning, she received an anesthetic to fall asleep, and they started to put a breathing supply into her mouth. But there was a problem. The doctor couldn't get the mask into her mouth. So minute by minute, while the experienced and excellent doctors tried to connect the oxygen supply, Elaine's oxygen saturation dropped. So the doctor was so busy and highly concentrated that they lost the sense of time. And I want to underline here, please do not switch on your judgmental mind. This is very human. We are all like that. A nurse suggested and was ready to cut a small cut here. Can you see me on the screen? Here on the throat. And to be able to insert the tube as it is the last emergency move in this situation. She informed the doctor in the room, but they didn't respond. They were continuing trying to force the tube into Elaine's mouth. And the nurse hesitated. She reasoned that experienced experts were at hand. They had surely considered the danger. And she was one of the most junior person in the room. So they were authority figures. Elaine was deep blue, and unfortunately, it was too late for her. Is it loss of face or loss of life? Does it have to be that way? Maybe some of you read the audit report of the International Monetary Fund after the financial crisis in 2009. Did you know that one of the reasons shown in this evaluation was that people didn't dare to speak up? Loss of face or financial crisis? Does it have to be that way? Still my same question. Please share your failures that others can learn and grow. Let's imagine the following. A nurse had worked in a hospital where she felt psychologically safe. She would not have hesitated to call it up again to the doctors, or even take the necessary step without waiting for any approval. She might not even be aware of making a conscious decision to speak up. It would be simply natural, part of her job. Isn't it similar with newcomers in the job? As long as they haven't enough time to observe the corporate culture, unspoken rules, and adapt to it, they are more open to question and contribute ideas. I experienced the same throughout my entire career. Luckily, my first boss loved it when I asked questions. I felt that this is what he loves and what he needs. He set the foundation for my business understanding. In my second career step, my boss was in Paris and I had all the freedom one can imagine. He encouraged me and was supportive and loved my creativity and interest looking behind the curtain. In my third career step, I behaved in my usual understanding of doing a good job. After a phone call I had with first level director, my colleague working close to me informed me that I shouldn't do that again, as I'm not on the same level and I should leave such calls to our boss. I didn't understand what she was talking about. It was so obvious to me that this is my area of expertise and not of my boss. And it didn't make any sense to me why I should do it the other way around. So in case you are curious, I served almost 6 years and I was permanently conscious not to adapt to the corporate culture of the organization. This sounds easy to say and to do when you don't have to depend on the paycheck. And I was lucky. So a climate of psychological safety, trust and respect needs space. The doctor might quickly agree with the nurse, or he might have explained why it wasn't dangerous in this case. Either way, the hospital and the team would be better off as a result. The patients would have received life-saving medication, or the team would have learned more. Before leaving the room, the doctor might thank the nurse for her intervention and that he is glad to rely on her to speak up in case he misses something. Yeah. The free exchange of ideas or questions is hindered by interpersonal fear, far more often than most managers realize. Psychological safety is very much shaped by leaders, by your direct superior. Yeah, I have another sample for you. And psychological safety allows people to focus on reaching shared goals rather than on self-protection. There are wonderful examples that shows us while trial and error, that without trial and error, our humanity would be completely different today. I'm sure most of you know that we discovered penicillin through an error, or Edison sample. How many failed attempts did it take before we no longer had to bring light in our homes with candles? Let's focus on the insights from thousands of samples and studies by looking at the business that could integrate those learnings to our best. Aviation. The black box records every conversation, every step and every action on the plane, and there are clear rules in the cockpit that do not allow fear of hierarchy, peer pressure, or other distortions. The admission of errors is required on purpose in order to continuously improve them. Not the people are the problem and the target to blame, but the processes are adapted and improved. Let me share. Yes. With each failure, new learning was added and the development continued. It is not for nothing that flying has become the safest form of travel. So every time you think your employee is the problem, most likely the situation, the environment, the structures, or the processes are causing the problem. Have you heard such statements? You don't admit mistakes. People don't like that at all. It makes you look incompetent. Or keep pretending we know what's going on, otherwise we will lose face. Or another one, when that blows up, people will never forgive us. We'll keep them busy with other things. Someone else should take care of it. Or as long as we don't have any answers, we leave them in the belief that everything is fine. I don't see any noddings. I've heard such statements too often. We'd rather twist the truth, cover up our failure, or look for someone or something to blame. Unimportant things are often exaggerated to distract from our pain points or fear of losing faith. Everywhere, in all cultures. Hear my advice. Awaken the willingness to transform in your company if you want to play a role in the digital age. Put your people in the right place. Provide them with beneficial resources, useful structures, and a culture that demands questions and proactive engagements. So demand it. If you don't demand, they will not dare. We humans are creatures of habits that mostly begin to change when having pain, fear, or pressure. And it is really difficult to break out of familiar thinking pattern and habits and not to fall back. So anyone who wanted to lose weight or try to quit smoking maybe can understand what I mean with that. Let me show you the 3 steps of our Fail, Share and Grow program, which is designed to develop new habits. Yes, here it is. First, the phase fail. Accept the trial and error is a necessary part of your life. Be happy for every recognized failure because you have learned something new. And build structures and processes to feel safe to experiment new things. Let's move to share. I have also 3 points for you. Let others participate and learn from each other's error. Share to prevent that mistakes needed to be repeated, which is, by the way, saving you a lot of money. And build structures and processes that sharing has space. And finally, grow. Grow in courage to be able to take bigger and bolder steps and build structures and processes again where people can grow and your organization will flourish. Let me close with my last statement. Admitting mistakes, analyzing them and learning from them is in short supply in many cultures. The consequence is that we cannot develop further without a healthy culture of error. We learn from trial and error. Admitting mistakes is not a sign of weakness, but of strength and greatness. Get up, learn from it, and make the next steps. Thank you very much.